Good morning.
So I filed my taxes on March 18th, which means my crack staff has said that your state, our state, has 45 days to get me my refund. They're supposedly 5 days overdue. Is that correct?
That's right. So they have 45 days to send back your refund. And if they don't do that within 45 days, they owe you interest. And so if anyone has filed before the April 18th deadline by now and has not received their return, then their tax returns are past due.
Okay, so that's me, because I went to the mailbox yesterday. I still don't have mine. Do they Now, here's a stupid question. They don't automatically tack on the interest, right? I got to go track them down?
Well, that's what our audit is trying to find out. We want to make sure that citizens are either getting their tax returns in time and getting their money back as quickly as possible. But if they're not, the Department of Revenue is appropriately giving them interest like it says they're supposed to under the law. We have received in the past 6 weeks about 1,000 Missourians that have reached out to us with complaints and concerns about their tax refunds in the Department of Revenue. And so part of this is looking into what the Department of Revenue's activities are as part of our audit.
And who do we so can I charge the state any interest I want, or what's the interest I have to charge the state?
So the interest is outlined in statute. And right now, based on the formula within the statute, it's 0.7%.
0.7%. Now, is that 7% or is that 0.7%? 0.7%.
Okay. Obviously, that is low. But look, it's money that's due back to you. And that's the state's penalty for not getting your money back in a timely fashion.
Is it compounded daily, monthly?
That I am not sure. I think it is compounded daily, but I'd have to look at that.
So the governor's busy making sure our energy rates go up so corporations can have lower energy rates. So he hasn't been able to return our phone calls. What is he saying about the slow nature of these returns?
Well, he is not saying much. However, his Department of Revenue director has said that all tax returns will be processed by June 30th. So that's the end of the state's fiscal year. And I do want to recognize, that is encouraging. I think that's a step in the right direction. But for most Missourians, June 30th is not a relevant date to taxpayers that are waiting on their tax refund. The end of the state's fiscal year means nothing to them. They've paid their taxes all year long on time. They filed their tax return on time. They just want their money back. Is
the state broke? Are they running a deficit? Why is it they can't get our money back to us?
It's part of it is surprising to me because tax time comes at the same time every single year. The Department of Revenue, the state, and taxpayers know when this time is, and so they need to process these returns as quickly as possible. Some of the complaints that I have received from citizens say that they can't get a hold of anyone at the Department of Revenue to answer their questions. Their calls have been disconnected. They have long wait times, and as many people say, they're receiving their refund without the interest owed. And so that is part of what this audit is looking to find out what's happening here.
So when I go on Southwest Airlines and they lose my luggage or they rummage through my luggage, right, they make it so impossible to go find the person who did it that you finally get so frustrated you're like, forget about it. It was only an old Walkman anyway, right?
Right.
It seems like the state is setting this up to make it so difficult that we say, oh, forget the interest. We got our money. Be happy with that. It's so frustrating they're making it so it's too hard to go down and track the money owed to us.
I mean, Missourians are becoming understandably frustrated. That's why in just 6 weeks, 8,000 people have reached out to my office to talk about the Department of Revenue. And so I am providing this information to the Department of Revenue. I did this past week so they can address these individual complaints that we have received and trying to steer the Department of Revenue in the right direction. Look, let's not forget, this is your money. It's your tax dollars. It should come back to you as quickly as possible, and if they owe you interest, they should pay it to you.
All right, Nicole Galloway. So any day now, we should be expecting our refunds, or should we wait till June 30th?
If you have filed by the April 18th deadline, then you should be getting your refunds anytime now, according to the Department of Revenue. Then the Department of Revenue said that they'll get you your money back by June 30th. And so I'll be holding their feet to the fire for those deadlines.
Let me ask the question again so we all understand what's going on. I'm one of those who hasn't gotten it back. So, but for those of us who haven't gotten it back, we get our refund back. They're not going to tack on the interest, or are they? And if they don't, who do we call then?
They should be tacking on the interest. That's the law. And so my audit is to make sure that they're actually doing that, doing what they're saying. If you do not receive your interest, you need to call the Department of Revenue, but you can also make my office aware, and it's something that we can look into while we're conducting our audit.
Any idea as to how much money the state is losing each day that goes by on the interest being paid to the collective people who haven't got their refund yet?
We're requesting that information from the Department of Revenue as part of our audit, and so we don't have those numbers yet either. But look, what's really interesting here, or really kind of troubling, I guess you could say, is that not only are we waiting for our tax dollars back on our refunds, but then our tax dollars are going to pay interest to people. And so, as a taxpayer, it's like, come on, I don't want my tax dollars going to pay interest. I just want my money back. And so it's kind of a double whammy here.
And the reason why they put this law into effect is because the state was slow in past years returning our refunds to us.
That's right. So this new law, the 45-day deadline, has been into effect for the past 2 years. So into effect last year, and obviously is still in effect this year. And so we're auditing both years. We want to see how the Department of Revenue has been doing.
Nicole Galloway, come back and tell us all about it when you finally get the answers.
I sure will.
Missouri State Auditor Nicole Galloway. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
725.